Mo has a personal connection to a big-time celebrity, a legend, actually, that passed away over the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bittersweet, rough weekend for myself and some of my family who was really close to Irv Gotti and some of his family. If you're not familiar with who Irv Gotti is or was, he's a famous producer, a legendary producer in hip-hop who created Murder Inc. Records back in 98, I believe, and he's most infamous for signing the likes of Jay-Z and DMX. And I had mixed feelings about it for a couple reasons, but one of my favorite Irv Gotti stories, who I think kind of tells you exactly who Irv Gotti was when he found DMX, before anyone knew who DMX was. At the time, Def Jam was like the biggest record label for hip-hop in the world. And Leor and all of the leaders of Murder Inc. did not want to sign DMX. They thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And they felt like he's loud, he barks. He's like, who wants to listen to that? Who wants to hear somebody barking on a record? And
I got my hand up.
and I remember Irv saying to Leor at the time that there are way more people who listen to hip hop in the streets of this country who will relate to DMX who cannot relate to you. You wouldn't understand. And he signed DMX regardless of what they wanted. He actually did it behind their back. And then DMX obviously went on to be one of the greatest and biggest selling hip hop artists of all time. So that's who Irv was. Like, he stands on business when he has a vision and has a dream. And that's what made him the visionary that he was. And, you know, that led to hits with J-Lo, Ashanti, Ja Rule, Lloyd, Fat Joe, you name it. There was a point in hip hop when pretty much it felt like every record, like Irv had his finger on. He had something to do with. And I was fortunate enough to meet Irv when I was about 19 or 20 years old. And the moment that I will always remember about Irv Gotti is the first time I met him. I was at that time, I was brought on as a songwriter to work for Murder Inc. And it was a lot of songwriters, as you can imagine, at that time that were trying to get a record with Murder Inc., with Ashanti or with Ja Rule or with anybody. And I was the youngest guy there. I was coming every single night for about maybe a month. But no one noticed me. No one recognized me. No one gave me a shot. And I was afraid, really, to these guys were like people who had already had hits with Ashanti and Ja Rule at this time. These guys already sold millions of records. I didn't have one writing credit. I was a 19-year-old kid trying to find my way. And no one would put me in the booth. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to take your opportunity. You have to show them I want this more than anyone in here. And I'll never forget, of all the people, because Irv was considered the leader. So when Irv walked in, you can kind of feel everybody get a little tense and everybody tried, like, they didn't know how to react. And Irv came to me and was like, "What are you doing?" And he didn't know me, didn't ask me my name, anything. Just said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, working on something. And he's like, "Why are you working on it in a room by yourself where no one's going to know that you worked on it? Come with me." And then he takes me in a room. I will never forget this. I walk into this booth. And everyone is there. DMX is there. Ja Rule is there. Ashanti is there. Like, everyone who was on this record label is there. And it was called the Crack House because that's where they made hits. That's why so it was like this really big booth and everyone is outside of it and it's this really big window. And he said, "So you're a writer? Well, we need songs for Lloyd's album. So go in there and give us something." And I was like, "I can't sing." And he said, "We don't need you to sing. Just sing the idea and we have Lloyd come in and sing it." So I'm like, "Right now?" He's like, "Yeah, right now." I'm like, okay. So I went in the booth and I sung what I was working on. And I'll always remember, I'm probably the most terrified I've ever been.
I bet. How old were you again?
Like 19.
Wow.
19 or 20. And I sung it and I just remember everybody in the room, like, not really reacting. They were just listening. And I didn't realize at the time it was because they liked it. They were shocked. They didn't expect it to be any good. But when I came out of the booth, Irv, he didn't say anything to me at first. I literally just walked out and everybody just kind of went back to what they were doing. I had no idea if I was good or not. I didn't know. And I walked out and I went back to that corner where I was and sat by myself. And eventually, before they left, he came out to me and he was like, that was great. Why was you holding on to that? And I was like, I don't know. He said, "Listen, only reason I put you in there is because I knew you were afraid." And he said, the moment I said it, I saw the fear. I saw, like, the belief in yourself leave. You're never going to make it in this industry if you feel that way. If you go in there and fail, you go in there and fail, but go in there and do it and go in there and believe in yourself. And then he just walked away. And that was the first time I ever met Irv Gotti.
Wow.
And then that led to me being around more. And I think from that moment on, that might be a part of where we always talk about how I don't have fear when I go into things. Mm-hmm. That probably plays a big part in it because I realized in that moment, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, right? Like, either they're going to love it or they're not going to love it. But either way, I'm going to go in here with no fear. I'm going to go in here not nervous, and I'm going to do my best. And that whatever happens, happens. But you just have to believe in yourself because no one's going to give you opportunity. You have to take it. And I learned that from Irv. And I always remembered that. And I'll always appreciate it. And it was kind of tough just seeing, like having his family on one end call me, talk to me, tell me what they were going through, and then going online and seeing like how so many people who have never met him and only know rumors were talking so bad about him. And I got it from 50 Cent. That was the thing. 50 and Irv has had this beef, and it's a real beef. It's more than music beef, and they've hated each other their whole life. And 50 was saying things about him that wasn't great in his passing. And that part I understood because he knew him personally. But I just, this world that we're in, I think it hit me a little different because I know Irv personally. And this world that we're in, where when people pass, it's no longer the finale of things. I kind of miss the world when somebody died. That's just it. Their story ends. They're not here anymore. They still have a family. They still have people who love them, who really didn't have anything to do with what you may or may not know them for. And it's always bothered me. But this one bothered me a little more, you know, because of the personal connection. And I just don't know when we've gotten to this place where when someone passes away, it's like everybody's moment to jump on and to dance on their grave and to throw dirt on their name. And it's like the guy did so much great. And for me personally, Irv has helped me a lot. He's put money in my pocket. He's given me a lot of confidence, and he's put me in rooms to where I can make connections with a lot of the people I still have connections with today. So for me and for a lot of people, Irv was a very special human being. And I just think at some point in life, we should get back to when somebody gives you something. If they give you something while they're here that you can use, you should hold on to it and cherish it. And if they don't, they don't. But this whole celebrating the fact that somebody has died thing, I think is super weird. And I've thought it was weird since the Kevin Samuels thing, and I've become numb to it. But at this point, it's just like, I don't want to be numb to that. Like, I want to stand on business when somebody you love or somebody who has done well for you passes and people are throwing dirt on their name. I think you should scream from the mountaintop that you love this person and what this person did for you. And I just wanted to take a second to do that for Irv, guy.
Man, thanks for sharing that, dude. Wow, what a time for you.
Yeah, man, it was great.
The Bert Show.